So after the reflecting the anterior abdominal wall, I can gain access to the peritoneal cavity. This is the peritoneal cavity. To the wall, here, the wall is lined by peritoneum, which is the parietal peritoneum. This is the parietal peritoneum. Here is the parietal peritoneum. And the visceral peritoneum is applied to the viscera. So the viscera here are covered by peritoneum, which is the visceral peritoneum. Okay. Now let me show you some of the viscera here. This is the liver. You can see the liver. The liver also is mainly in the right hypochondrium, and the epigastrium extends into the left hypochondrium. You can see the stomach. Here is the stomach. See? The greater curvature of the stomach and the lesser curvature of the stomach. Also, you can see this mobile part of large intestine. This is the transverse colon and the mesentery of the transverse colon. Here is the mesentery of the transverse colon. And here is the small intestine in the infracolic compartment. See, this is the small intestine. And it's attached to mesentery of the small intestine, which contains the vessels are the superior mesenteric vessels. The small intestine ends into the large intestine and the cecum. This is the region of the cecum. This is the cecum. Ascending colon. And then we have the, here is the hepatic flexure or right colic flexure. Then transverse colon. And then we have the splenic flexure here. This is the splenic flexure. I can see, no, the spleen is not very clear, but I can feel it, but it's not very clear. I will show it to you later on. Then the descending colon and the S-shaped sigmoid colon. This is the sigmoid colon. Again, the sigmoid colon is movable because it has a mesentery. Sigmoid mesocolon. This is mesentery. Again, you can see that it contains fat, blood vessels, nerves, and lymphatics, like the other mesenteries. Okay? Now, there is a fold of peritoneum here that is between the anterior abdominal wall and the liver. And this fold, you can see it from this side better now. This is the falciform ligament of the liver. Falciform ligament of the liver, and it's a free lower border, is thick. It's formed the round ligament of the liver and is attached to the back of the umbilicus. Here, this is an embryonic remnant, embryonic remnant of the left umbilical vein. But still, it contains some of the veins that communicates between the umbilicus and the portal vein, and they are the basis for the. In cases of portal hypertension, this will result in caput medosi around the umbilicus. Now, above the liver, I can pass my finger into the left subphrenic space between the liver and the diaphragm. And on this side, I can pass my fingers into the right subphrenic space between the liver and the diaphragm. Between the visceral surface of the liver and the lesser curvature of the stomach, this is the lesser omentum. You can see the fold of peritoneum, which contains, here it contains fat, it contains blood vessels. This is the lesser omentum. And the lesser omentum is not only attached to the stomach, but also partly attached to the esophagus and the first part of the duodenum, as here. It has a free border. This is the free border of the lesser omentum. I can pass my finger behind it. This is the epiploic foramen. And you can see that there is a perforation here in the lesser omentum. And so you can look at the inside of the lesser sac. So if I pass my finger, it will appear. Now you can see it. Can you see my tip of my finger? Which means that I am entering into the lesser sac through the foramen of Winslow. Okay? In this free border of the lesser omentum, there is a triad of bile duct, hepatic artery, and portal vein. And so it will be located, this triad is located in front of my finger. Behind my finger, the structure is the inferior vena cava. I can feel the inferior vena cava. Below is the first part of the duodenum. Okay, and above is the liver. So these are the boundaries of the foramen of Winslow or the epiploic foramen. There is another space here, which I will put my hand into. It is between the visceral surface of the right lobe of the liver and the kidney. Here is the place of the kidney. The kidney is retroperitoneal. You can see the shadow of the kidney behind the peritoneum. This is the lower pole of the kidney. And between the upper pole of the kidney and the liver is the hepatorenal pouch. Now, attached to the greater curvature of the stomach, is the greater omentum. See, it's like an apron. Is the greater omentum. It contains fat and it contains vessels. These vessels are epiploic vessels. They are branches of the gastroepiploic vessels that are located along the greater curvature of the stomach. Right gastroepiploic and left gastroepiploic. It sends gastric branches and epiploic branches, and also it contains fat. Very clear here that it contains fat. This part of the greater omentum between the stomach and the transverse colon is called the gastrocolic ligament. So this is the gastrocolic ligament between the greater curvature of the stomach and the transverse colon, gastrocolic ligament. Now, if I reflect the transverse colon upwards, now I will not be able to see the gastrocolic ligament, but instead you will see the transverse mesocolon. So from one side I can see the gastrocolic ligament anteriorly. If I reflect, then this is the transverse mesocolon. On the side of the descending colon, this gutter here in the greater sac is called paracolic gutter. This is the left paracolic gutter, and there is a right paracolic gutter on the right side as well. Right paracolic gutter. In fact, the right paracolic gutter communicates upwards with the hepatorenal pouch and with the subphrenic space, right subphrenic space. And it leads downwards, it goes into the pelvis, into the pelvic cavity. Okay?